Welcome to the Plant Trainers Podcast, where we're helping people improve their quality of life through nutrition and fitness. And now, your hosts, nutrition and wellness coaches, international speakers, Adam and Shoshana Chaim.
Hey, I'm Adam Chaim.
And I'm Shoshana Chaim, and we are
Propelled by Plants. Today we bring to you episode 420, Add More Veggies to Your Plate with Angela Montanez.
In this episode of the Plant Trainers Podcast, we feature a short but sweet summer transformation story. Today's guest started off like you and us in the beginning. They found a plant-based lifestyle at a time where it seemed like there were really no other options.
For those of you who have been with us a while, you know our summer episodes always provide great content, but are different from our regular show, giving us some downtime in the summer. So sit back and enjoy, or get out there and exercise. We'd love to hear your thoughts and how you can relate to their story over on our Instagram at Plant Trainers. We'll be back in a few weeks. Enjoy the show. If you want a healthy, natural way to fuel your workouts or fire up your brain, Energy Bits are for you. Energy Bits are tiny spirulina algae tabs that are nutritionally dense, a source of mental and physical energy that is all natural and causes no stomach distress. They eliminate fatigue and hunger instantly with no caffeine, sugar, chemicals, gluten, or soy, just pure plant-based nutrition. 1 ingredient, 1 calorie, and 0 net carbs. I use them before workouts or sometimes just as a snack. They make me feel great and give me that extra energy boost I'm sometimes looking for. I also use Recovery Bits, which are tiny chlorella tabs. I use them after workouts or when I'm feeling hungry late at night. Visit energybits.com and order Energy Bits, Recovery Bits, Vitality Bits, or Skinny Bits, and use the promo code PLANTTRAINERS to get 20% off your order at checkout. The link will also be in the show notes just in case you didn't get that all down. Improve your energy, wellness, and waistline all at the same time with Energy Bits. Check out Energy Bits today and feel the difference. Your brain and body will say thank you.
My name is Angela Montanez, and I am from the Bronx in New York City, and I currently reside in Connecticut with my identical twin sister, her husband, and her 2 children. So, moment of gratitude for me. What am I most grateful for right now? Right now, I would say that I am most grateful for my health. That is a given. I am most grateful for my health and for my spiritual connection, because I am a medical medium and I do healing work, and I am also a nutrition coach and yogi, pretty much. So that's what I'm grateful for today, my health and my spiritual connection and my spiritual team, pretty much, and my family. What was life like before I found a plant-based lifestyle? Before I found a plant-based lifestyle, life and food, in hindsight, I would say was kind of boring. I didn't realize how boring it was until I started traversing into learning to cook and eat differently, learning to taste plants again, learning to taste food the way it grows from the ground, and then learning to pair it and season it. And I mean, it's a communication language all its own. So learning to really communicate with your food so that I personally would understand what works well and what pairs well with what, so I can enjoy my food journey. Things of the senses are very important to me. I am a very sensual person in the aspect of when I eat, it's like an amazing journey. When I touch something to paint, it's a journey. When I do my mediumship, it's a journey. So every single thing that flows through the senses for me is a journey. So food was like that. It just became this beautiful journey that I wanted to dive in. I mean, when I was younger, I loved to watch cooking shows, and I loved to learn about new produce and foods, but my family was very rigid. I come from a Puerto Rican family, and there are cultural ties to food. So, I mean, if I brought home a yellow tomato, my mom would just hit the roof because we don't buy yellow tomatoes, you know. So it was fun. It was really, really fun going on that journey toward more of a plant-based lifestyle. I also, as a child, I developed an autoimmune chronic illness, and for many, many, many years, it was very challenging when it came to food and what I eat and what I shouldn't eat, and nobody really had the answers to that. So going on this journey really helped me to feel like I had some level of control.
There's so much more great information coming your way, but before we get to that, we wanted to share with you and let you know that if you want a healthy, natural way to fuel your workouts or fire up your brain, Energy Bits are for you. Energy Bits are tiny spirulina algae tabs that are nutritionally dense, a source of mental and physical energy that is all natural and causes no stomach distress. They eliminate fatigue and hunger instantly with no caffeine, sugar, chemicals, gluten, or soy, just pure plant-based nutrition. 1 ingredient, 1 calorie, and 0 net carbs. I use them before workouts or sometimes just as a snack. They make me feel great and give me that extra energy boost I'm sometimes looking for. I also use Recovery Bits, which are tiny chlorella tabs. I use them after workouts or when I'm feeling hungry late at night. Visit energybits.com and order Energy Bits, Recovery Bits, Vitality Bits, or Skinny Bits, and use the promo code PLANTTRAINERS to get 20% off your order at checkout. The link will also be in the show notes just in case you didn't get that all down. Improve your energy, wellness, and waistline all at the same time with Energy Bits. Check out Energy Bits today and feel the difference. Your brain and body will say thank you. And now back to the show.
I ate, like I said, I started eating more in a more nutritious way. And the benefit of that was that I ended up losing about 120 pounds through juicing, through changing my diet, through cutting out certain foods, really, really heavy starches like wheat and certain grains. And that was the bonus. It wasn't advocacy. It wasn't for anything else but to continue to stay alive and really fight for myself. And so I went on this journey, and it was pretty incredible, sensually, I would say, for me. How did you find a plant-based lifestyle? Okay, so it was 2012, and the specialist I was seeing at the time for my liver, I was on steroids, so I was a lot bigger, and we had done a round of steroids for about 2 years, and I ended up progressing in the worst way anyway, and he was very upset. He put his head in his hands, and he just wept, and he said, I did everything that I was supposed to do. I followed the protocol. Nothing was working. I don't want it to end this way. And then he lifted his head, and I was just praying at that point, and I said, God, you've got me out of some things before, some really crazy things. You're going to throw me a lifeline. I know you're going to throw me a lifeline. At that point, he lifted his head. He said, I got it. He suggested this supplement, but he said, if anybody asks you, I did not recommend it. You found it on your own. Within about 2 or 3 weeks, when I returned to him, my inflammation markers dropped by more than half. So at that point, I knew there was something to this. I knew there was an element that I was missing. And so I said, okay, so if I pair this with diet, who knows what can happen? And I was ready for that journey. And so that's pretty much what I did. That's pretty much how I moved forward. And my father actually saw the documentary Forks Over Knives. And he said, you got to watch this, and you got to watch this. And I said, okay. So I watched it, and I said, wow, that was like powerful. Then I started watching other documentaries. I started watching Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. I started watching, there was a whole bunch of them during that time that came out. And so I started watching them. The first 2 weeks, I cut meat. I cut certain starches. I was kind of paleo. I ate a lot of salads. I ate a lot of greens. I was traversing into the plant kingdom. And I did that. I went cold turkey in that fashion for about 2 weeks. And then I backtracked and I said, let me add in a little bit of chicken or a little bit of turkey or a little bit of fish. And then I'll slowly come down from that. And that's kind of what I did over the course of like a couple months before it was completely out of my diet. And so it was my dad. He said, "You got to watch this documentary. It's amazing." And I said, "Okay, I'll watch it." I had through that, I juiced and I ate a lot of vegetables and fruit. I saw my weight go from mid to 50s to 60s, and I dropped 120 pounds. The weight loss wasn't the goal. The health was the goal. And so, I usually get a lot of people that say, "How did you do it?" I don't know. I was just focused on enjoying my food, enjoying the journey, and just being happy that I'm on this journey and I was alive to do it. So that's how I found it. It was through my father, who suggested Forks Over Knives, the documentary. What changed? My weight changed. My perspective changed. My perspective changed on food. Before, it was something that I had identified with my family as far as things that you ate that were cultural, and this is just what you eat. My taste, my palate changed. I can taste sugar, even the slightest amount. I can taste sodium, the slightest amount. Like, I liked things more natural, and my body wanted more healthier things. My body would crave greens. My body started to crave things that were more nutritious versus things that were not. If I ate something that didn't feel like it was living, it had life to it, my body was like, no, we can't do this. Even if that was the only thing that was offered wherever I was, my body said, no, we need something that when we eat it and it goes in, we feel the life-giving effects of it. And it's still like that to this day. What was really challenging? Oh, I can do a longer video about this, but I am a woman who has had a long-term chronic illness for 30 years, something like that. And the challenging part came when I was a couple years into this journey. And when you have a chronic illness, and you come from demographically either a culture or a race where either they're food deserts or you're tight on money or something, especially where food is tied in emotionally to the culture, there's going to be challenges. My family fought me from day one. They felt that it was too expensive. They felt like I was wasting money. They felt like, who does this? Who eats like this? There was no real support for a couple years. Then I had some support for about a year or two. Then it went back to, this is too expensive for that, for the money that we spend on all these plants. We could be buying this, or we could buy this in a box, or this in a can, and all of this processed food, all this meat, all this processed meat. And I wasn't eating like that. But because I wasn't working and my work history was on and off because of my health challenges, my family had to help me. And that became challenging when they decided, we're not paying for this anymore, or we're not contributing to this anymore. And that was really challenging for me because it left me to what's the word? It left me in their hands, basically, where I could only have this much or this much fruit or this much veggies throughout the day. And it was like, and then they decided we're going to take the reins on going shopping, And so that became a stress because I would need certain things and they weren't willing to buy it. And so that over the course of several months, that caused my health to continue to digress and go down and down and down because I was eating a lot of starches and I kept trying to find ways to grab nutrients from what I was eating. And it just didn't happen. And it came to a point where I had a flare-up of my chronic illness, and then I was hospitalized for like a whole year. There were a lot of complications, an entire year. And then at the end of that year, because I was hospitalized so long, I had to relearn to walk again. So I had to go to a rehab, relearn to walk. The doctors, the rehab team said, we didn't think you were going to make it out of here alive. It was frustrating. That was probably one of the biggest challenges that I faced, was trying to be as consistent as possible with this medical background, medical history, I should say, with this medical history, and with a lack of family support. So that was challenging. To make it to how I am today was the grace of God and the fact that I would not keep fighting. I just had to keep fighting. Even in the hospital, there was a dietitian that they brought to me, and she said, you got to eat this, whatever they bring you got to eat, you got to eat, you got to eat, because I had dropped so much weight. And they said, you just have to eat. And I said, well, what do you eat on a daily basis? And she said, well, I eat this in the morning, and I have a green juice, I have organic eggs, and then in the afternoon I have a salad, and I have some organic chicken. And I said, well, I don't see any of that in front of me. I said, so would you eat this? And she said, no. What was in front of me? Would you eat this? And she said, no. I said, so why would you try and feed it to me? Why would you try and feed it to me? And I said, I'm going to need something for my food. So they put a fridge in my hospital room, and I had family members bring me things because it was that critical. Like, I have to get back on track, and I will fight to the death for myself. And so that's the challenging thing. And that's also the advice that I would give you guys as far as being on this journey, is that being committed and staying committed is extremely rewarding. You're not always going to have family members that are going to back you up. You may not always have emotional support. You may not have financial support. But as long as you believe in yourself and you keep going and you listen to your body, what does your body want? Listen to your body, be true to yourself, and just keep going. Just keep fighting for yourself. There are some people that ask me, they say, oh, well, I don't know if I can do the whole thing, or I don't know if I can do this or that. And I say, I don't care what your preference is. I don't care if you say I have to have a steak every day. Like, I don't care. What I care about and what I tell them is, hey, if you can increase the amount of veggies on your plate at every meal, you're winning. You are absolutely winning, and applaud. So that's pretty much what it is. Fight for yourself. Don't let anybody tell you anything else, because it's your body. And in the end, you're going to have to continue to manage yourself and enjoy the process. It's a beautiful process culinary-wise. It's a beautiful process. I always say I didn't know what flavor was until I had to work with a lot of vegetables, until I went plant-based. Trust yourself. Trust yourself and enjoy it. So thanks so much, guys.
Thank you all so much for listening to this edition of the Plant Trainers Podcast. We want to make sure that you subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, or any other podcasting platform.
We really appreciate the feedback we receive from you. Every time we get a 5-star rating or review on iTunes from one of our fans, it really helps other people find us, just like you did.
Thanks so much to our patrons. To become a patron, visit us at patreon.com/planttrainers. Even supporting us with $1 really makes a difference in the quality of the show.
And don't forget to connect with us on Instagram and Twitter. Our handle is @PlantTrainers. Like Plant Trainers on Facebook, join our newsletter, and check out our website at planttrainers.com for awesome recipes, a list of our services, and of course, our latest podcast.
We encourage you to email your questions to info@planttrainers.com so that we can help you improve your quality of life through nutrition and fitness.
So we hope we've inspired you today. Join us again next time, and have a healthy day. Or is that too corny?
It's a little cheesy.